I have a big project. This is Lii-audio speakers and I really like them.
I love these speakers too. I really do. And they're not painted. So Viki, let me know what color you end up going with. I will paint mine exactly the same.
What the is wrong with this guy? Am I kidding me or what?
Did I just do that to put online so it's there forever?
Oh, wait. No.
Yeah. 2 years of lockdowns. It'll do shit to you. All right. Just a quick update. They're not done breaking in. I have about 30 hours of break-in done. They're probably going to do another 10, 12 today. Give them a break at night. I don't do a break-in in one full swoop. I do it in usually sections of 10, 12 hours and then turn everything off, let everything rest. But I think that with speakers, I think you can do it all in one shot because I don't think it's an electrical break-in like you do with capacitors and so on. It's I think there's more of a mechanical break-in that needs to happen with the coil. What do I know? They're 30 hours in break-in. They are big. Yeah. So to give you a reference, like my head is huge, especially with the beard. I have a big head. Like it's full of air and resolution, my head. And a bit of slam. But these guys, they're big. They're really big. Like when you have them side by side to a 15-inch driver, which is already big, these things just dwarf them. So initial impressions, in the beginning, they were edgy on the top, thin on the bottom. Surprisingly, still high res though, more high res than I expected. So my expectations for these was that they would be a little bit more rolled off than the F18s, because I was thinking to myself, how can such a massive driver reproduce the fine details and the highs? It's doing it. It is not rolled so far. It's not rolled off compared to the F15s. See at the end of the break-in, but so far the resolution is quite high, more than I expected. So one of the reasons I believe they are feeling like a higher resolution than I expected, as I think has to do. It's not just the driver. I think it also has to do with the height that I decided to mount these in the baffles. Compared to the height that I had the F15s in, these are a little bit taller, but I tried to have them so that, see from the perspective of the chair, I want them to be, so this is roughly where my shoulder would be, and I wanted them to be roughly shoulder height, a little bit lower than my ears. What I mean by that is the face plug, I set the face plug to try to be just underneath, a couple inches underneath my ears, where my ears are. And I think that's why they're sounding very high res to me right now. But they're still bass. As long as the bass comes in and helps fill in the mid range, it's good. But if the bass does not improve more than it is now, it is definitely going to be missing bass and will require an absolute subwoofer, who knows, or an extra wing. I still have a lot of options to try. So yeah, I'm still very, very enthusiastic as to where this is going to go. This might be very interesting. Very, very interesting. It's the first time I dabble with a driver of this size, let alone a full range driver of this size. But I can already feel it in my room. The depth of the soundstage and the height of the soundstage is on the exaggerated side. It's large for sure, but fun, yeah, a lot of fun. a lot of fun. So the mid-range has started. So first impressions, beginning of break-in, edgy on the top, thin on the bottom. But resolution was there. Soundstage was wide, was deep, was tall. After 24 hours into the break-in, the edginess on top turned into the edginess on the top has tamed down by about 15-20%. After 24 hours, to me, they were acceptable to listen to. So like the edginess had come down on the top end. The bass started showing itself a little bit, which was making the lower mids starting to feel like they had a bit of flesh around it, a little bit of meat around the bone. It started to sound really good. So I'm really looking forward to another 50 to 100 hours on these. Because on day 3, the bass climbed yet again, became a little bit more impactful, a little bit heavier, and the mids started to become a little bit more lush. But on day 3, the highs became slightly edgy again, but it's making for a heck of a high resolution. So I'm very surprised at that. I wasn't expecting this high resolution with this size of a speaker. That's what the adventure is all about. We learn, we try things. Yep, but I'm gonna have to make these baffles much heavier, I think, and this is where I think the base that I'm going to be building out of 3 pieces of 6x6 wood. I haven't figured out what kind of wood yet. I'll probably just use the cheap stuff. Maybe a 6x6 is heavy on its own. So yeah, so I'll cut them into sections of about 20 inches or so. Yeah, about 20 inches long. Bind three of them together, and they will form the base of the speaker. So they'll have like a groove near the front that the baffle will sit in. It would all be bound together. And of course, I'll be putting some spikes underneath that base. And if I want to add even more weight on top of those 6x6s, I can add a piece of granite, a piece of marble, a piece of cement to give them more weight, which will help a lot in the base. So right now I have one wing behind them, only on this side. And I'm keeping the second wing for once the speakers are properly broken in, so I have an idea of how much they can do with just one wing. And I will take the one wing off as well to try once they're fully broken in to see how the bass does. So yeah, so far a very promising speaker yet again from Lii-song. Very cool, very, very cool. I prefer these over the F18s at the same stage in their break-in. At this stage of the break-in, the F15s did not sound this pleasant. These are much more pleasant to listen to right away after 24, 30 hours of break-in, whereas the F15s are not. The F15s need 100, 200 hours to start sounding good, and they need a heavy baffle. They need a larger baffle. When you use the F15s with a small or a thin or a light baffle, you get no low end. So if you get no low end, the mids aren't interesting. You need weight, and I think you need that dispersion space on the baffle. That's how I got them to sound good with my ugly baffles, and I think that's part of the secret with Deckware, with the Deckware baffles. Yeah, stay tuned. So far, these are sounding pretty cool.